Okay, let's get to this. So I teased it in the last segment. I saw this yesterday, and I was like, oh, is that could this work? He's different, he's unique, but could this possibly work? Now, it's kind of a long clip, so bear with us there for a moment. But Deion Sanders, there was a report that came out that he does not do in-home visits with high school recruits. Just doesn't want to do it. For whatever reason, nobody knew at the time. He doesn't want to do it. So he had a press conference, and he was asked, like, yo, you, like, huh? I think he actually might even have done it in his opening segment, like just sat down and said, hey, I saw the report. Let me get to the bottom of it. Here is Deion Sanders' excuse or argument for why he does not believe in in-home visits of high school football recruits.
There's an article that came out that said I don't go on visits. My approach, it's totally different than many coaches' approach. Sometimes I'm a businessman as well, so I try to save our university money every darn chance I get. So for me to go to, let's just say I'm going to Florida and I'm visiting whatever school, IMG. You don't think those coaches are going to be a little upset if I don't come by the school down the street? You don't think it's going to be pandemonium if I'm going to get naysayed if I don't go another 45 minutes? Then if I go to that one, then I go, well, I didn't come to that school. Now the coach is mad, so he's not going to let the kid come because he's mad because I chose that, go to that school over that school. See, other coaches, they could do that, but I can't. And I've really pretty much done a personal survey. I really, truly, in all my heart, believe that parents don't want me at their house. They want to come see my house. They want to see how I live, how I get down. They want to see what I got going on, what God has done in my life. I know when I was in college, I did not want Bobby Bowden in my house because I knew after 7 o'clock it was going to be rats and roaches on parade doing their thing. So that was just straight up, honestly. I didn't. So that never transpired. That never happened for me. And we target mostly guys that's in the portal. When do you make visits to portal guys' homes? Anybody do that? Do they do that? I don't do it. Anybody? Have you guys heard of that? I don't. I think when a guy is in his 20s and he has 1 or 2 more shots, he don't give a darn about the picture. He don't give a darn about the parade that you want to take him on. He wants to know, okay, how are you going to use me? How can you help me get to the league? And what am I going to get paid? That's it. That's the world we live in now. I have never heard one guy say, I chose this college because this coach came by my crib. Have you? It's different now. The parents, I love them, and I want to show them Boulder. I want them to see this and how beautiful it is and why I'm so eager and how much I love this city and this state and this team. I want them to see that because guess what? That's where the kid is coming. Kid coming here. Going there is just showcase for me. That's just blowing money. Just blowing a bag. Don't make sense. And I can't do the things other coaches can do. You know why? I'm Coach Prime.
What do we? I saw this yesterday, and I was cracking up. I was like, first off, that's a hilarious answer. They want to see how I'm living. They don't want me to see how they're living, which is like, oh, okay. Can this possibly work? He is unique. He is Deion. He is different than any other coach in college football.
Well, work in what way?
Can he recruit at a high level in high school football without visiting kids in their house?
We have no evidence that he recruits at a high level in high school.
No, we don't.
He had Travis Hunter, who he got as a 5-star at Jackson State. Yep. I'm not counting his kid because we've seen the Nepo babies all over America in sports. So Hunter and what? And at Colorado, didn't he have that 5-star offensive lineman out of high school commit on first take? And
Jordan Seaton, yeah.
The next day, the kid he flipped his commitment or whatever.
He ended up committing.
Okay.
Yeah,
God,
but
these kids.
He committed on Undisputed with Skip Bayless, and then spent the next 3 weeks taking visits and almost flipped to different schools, and then ended up signing with Colorado.
So outside of 2. He has no real track record of success in high school, and he admitted in that piece right there, that cut, I'm a portal guy. Look, is this going to work? Well, it would depend on what way you're asking. Like winning a title, going to a playoff, winning the Big 12. I don't know. I tend to believe Colorado's not winning the national championship. I've seen no evidence that that program's going to take that kind of step. Winning their conference, Kyle Whittingham exists, so until I see that not happen anymore, I'm going to take Utah almost every year.
Oklahoma State's a good program.
Oklahoma State's not bad. They're up and down, right? Maybe Cincinnati will get it figured out, whatever. BYU, I don't know, but I don't have a lot of faith there either. He's a portal coach. He's point blank telling you, I don't recruit in high school. It has nothing to do. The funny thing about that clip is, like, I can't do that. Other coaches can. Nick Saban did it. Right. I know you're Deion Sanders and you did things in football itself, but Nick Saban is just as big a name of you, if not even bigger, in the last, 20 years. So
you don't think coaches are going to get upset if he visits a different school down the road but doesn't visit our school, and
also,
now we're not going to send kids to your school?
Imagine the pandemonium he sends if Prime walks in on the sidelines of a game on Friday night. Like, he'll have security, you won't get near him. But damn it if the crowd won't go crazy, and what that means to the players. He's a portal coach. He's not a high school recruiting coach. There's no evidence that he's a recruiting coach in high school. So he's basically telling you, I don't care. And, oh, by the way, the other part of this that kind of defends Prime, they probably don't have the resources to get the top end 4 or 5 stars. I don't mean that to sound like an excuse, but they just don't. So I think he puts most of his energy into the portal.
They signed 21 commits in the last high school recruiting cycle, and they ended up with the 30th overall ranked recruiting class in the country.
That's not awful, but it's not what you need to win.
A lot of it, too, is weighted because, your ranking is based on the level of player that you go get, and so getting a 5-star kid elevates them a ton. So the Jordan Seaton signing of that 5-star offensive lineman, without him, you're probably somewhere in the 45 to 50 range. And maybe he ends up being a great player and sticks around. We'll see. The whole thing of when he signed and then maybe signed elsewhere was very, 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 very strange. I thought it was fascinating to hear him hear an answer on this, because he clearly was upset about the article. The other thing that I saw, now I don't know this, I have not read his contract. This was just being circulated yesterday, but there were people saying that in his contract, the recruiting budget is also tied to his base salary. In essence of whatever they don't spend of their recruiting budget, Deion Sanders takes home.
Yeah. I was going to say,
I hope that's real.
So if that's where, because I hear this and I'm like, all right, it's Deion, all right, whatever, I get it. You want them to come to your school, you're different. You're right. He's more of a portal guy, and you're not really doing in-home visits for the portal. It's guys who are veterans. They've been around for a while. If you end up finding out that one of the reasons he doesn't want to take multiple trips to Florida or Louisiana or to Tennessee or to North Carolina is because he wants to save the budget so it's going into his pocket, that's hilarious.
Well, even that, I want to get to the fact that I do love this point by Deion, except I will push back on that, because when he was negotiating his contract in the first place, he wasn't trying to save the administration money then, so it's disingenuous to me that that's part of this answer. It's like, come on, Deion, no, you want every dollar.
Yeah, what has he asked for since he's been there? Too. What has he asked him to buy or to upgrade or to change? It's like you could have said all of that without saying that part. I'm trying to save money. Well, you're Deion Sanders, dude.
And it goes back to, dude, you're the coach getting the money. Why can't the players get a little taste as well? And we all have had that argument 1,000 times. But Deion making this point, I love it. I think this is where we are. We've seen in the last decade, obviously, the facilities in college football expanding, not just at Oregon, but now all the blue blood schools and even below them have amazing offerings, amazing uniform combinations. You see kids coming in for visits, taking pictures now. It's a cool thing to put the jersey on, to get a snap with the coach, put that out on social media. I feel like we really are moving towards that. There's no reason for a Dan Lanning, for a Deion Sanders, for a Nick Saban or a Kalen DeBoer to go to a house. You've got everything you need right here.
See, that's where I disagree with you.
Okay, I don't see it.
You want to get the 5-star. Don't you want the stud quarterback out of high school, or the running back, or the defensive lineman? Don't you want the 5-star out of high school?
For a lot of these kids, too, a main influence on them, not for everybody, because everybody comes from a different background, financially, family-wise, whatever. But for a lot of them, convincing the parents or family members is one of the biggest aspects of signing a kid and saying, hey, trust me with your kid for the next 2, 3, 4 years, however long it's going to be.
You're recruiting the parents.
You're recruiting the parents or the
kid.
grandparents or the uncles. And so I think that's the one where maybe some people, as he said, he didn't come from a great financial situation. He was embarrassed of his home life. So he didn't want Bobby Bowden coming to his house. I'm sure there are some kids out there that are like that. But I also know that there's going to be a lot of parents out there that are like, I want you to come sit at my dinner table and I want to have a face-to-face conversation with you on my turf about your philosophies and the way that you're going to handle the next couple of years.
But isn't that a little disingenuous on the coach's part? Because we all know they're giving coach speak, doing whatever they have to say to get
course
what
they
they
are.
need.
Cush lash.
I was
Cush lash. You got to make the kid feel good, man.
I know that, but I was just listening to a podcast about Aaron Hernandez and just the really tumultuous story that he had. But when he was getting recruited by Urban Meyer to Florida, Urban was in Bristol, Connecticut at his high school, and the administrator there had several questions ready for Urban to try to be like, yo, all right, this is what we need to know that Aaron's going to be okay. And Urban just rolled right through. So I get it, but I just feel like that there is a better semblance of a family unit, of what you can do, what your kid can do if you're actually at the place where you're sending them to go do it.
And I think official visits are great. They put the kid in the uniform. You see what the life could be like, what you get as part of the team. But, man, when you're talking about reeling in the biggest fish who are going to be there for 2 to 3 years, why would you not just go to that? The track record actually argues against you, Schultze. TCU is kind of the standalone portal example where it's like, hey, that team got to the title game. Yeah, a lot of portal guys. They're not a high-level recruiter. History of that sport says you have to care about high school. Me and Dirt have debated where the portal ranks compared to high school recruiting. I think that they're kind of gaining steam to be even, but it still points to you have to care about high school recruiting. You cannot be successful at the top end of that sport without caring. And if Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart and Brian Kelly and you fill in the net, Ryan Day, whoever goes to these kids' houses, and Deion's like, nah, you care about me more. Yeah, those guys are taking the extra steps, and they're ahead of you in recruiting. I just think the history suggests you got to care about it. When you don't care, you're only going to get so far with the portal.
I mean, money might be the most important thing in recruiting. Probably is the most important thing in recruiting, and what are you going to pay a kid through NIL and all that. I also know, like, we all are humans, and we want to feel wanted, and we want to feel loved, and we want to feel respected and appreciated. Like, I remember the Jabbar Muhammad recruitment. He's a transfer portal guy from Washington, ended up picking Oregon. I'm sure Oregon was the highest bidder, but are we going to pretend like Alabama didn't have a war chest to go after him, or Texas didn't have a war chest? Like, of course these other schools have money, and he said one of the biggest differences was that Dan Lanning was relentless, like, did not stop texting or calling
Text him every day.
Every single day, and there's a different aspect to it. This is, I think, the larger thing that I wanted to bring up here, and who knows, maybe this is like his kid has one more year left in college, and then he's gone from Colorado, and that was it. Like, hey, what a fun 2-year experience of Deion Sanders. I think this is where it's stories like this to come out that I'm like, I just have a hard time taking it seriously. Like, if you're not, like, a lot of it to me last year felt like a promotional tour, and it's a documentary, and let's put it on Amazon, and that's, here's all your YouTube videos and that. I don't mind. You want to document stuff, that's fine. But in order to win at the highest level, or to be consistently good at the highest level in this sport, it takes a relentless work ethic.
It does.
Like, it's 22-hour days.
Yep.
It's miserable lifestyle, and that's why a lot of coaches are leaving and going to the NFL. But it's like, you're going to tell me you think you can win at a consistent level without caring about in-home visits? Maybe Schultze's right, and they're not as important potentially as they used to be.
But yeah.
I still think they're important, and
Yeah.
it has to be a cohesive strategy of bring them on campus, call them every day, you visit in home. Like, it has to, the NIL, it has to be a total package kind of thing. And you're never going to build depth. You're never going to build the kind of roster that you need by just saying, let's go get 10, 11, 15 guys out of the portal and not really take high school football recruiting that seriously.
What do you think the standard is for him at Colorado?
They won 4 games last year.
They won 4, and as much fun as I had with it and enjoyed seeing their start.
It was 3-0, and then 1-8 to finish.
Well,
or
he
whatever.
was dancing all over the world when they beat TCU. I heard that bull junk.
Yeah.
And they won 3 more games after that and got absolutely obliterated by Oregon. And Washington State, I think, was one of their.
That was a game at the end of the year. It's like 60-0.
They got housed, and that was a bad Wazoo team.
Yeah.
You can't just come in and be 6 wins. That if you think you're truly amongst the best, and he clearly does, you need to be competing to win the Big 12, and you need to be in the playoff. Now, if his grand plan is get Shedeur good, go to the draft, and then get the hell out of Boulder and go to the place I want to go, whether that's Florida or wherever, then largely none of this really matters. It's just I'm biding my time before I go to the place.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of with you here. I love it. I think he's good for the sport.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not going to achieve success if you're not willing to put it in. Dan Lanning is an example I would use. He is an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
You have to be good in this sport. Kirby Smart is going to outwork you, and he has multiple national championships. If your level is not that level, you're not going to win. You're going to win, but you're not going to win enough to where people see your name and associate it with top end of that sport.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Deion Sanders defending his not doing in-home visits with high school football recruits. And Schulte's picking up what he's putting down. He's a prime guy over there. Look at you becoming a prime guy now.
I mean, I just know the world we live in, and he made the point, guys, what do these kids care about most of all? Money. It's like, how do you make somebody feel valued? Here's a bunch of money. You don't have to sit in their living room to tell them that. You can meet on Zoom, or you can bring them out to your stadium, be like, we got $3 million for you, kid. That's how much I want you.
Yeah.
That's literally all that needs to be said.
How many national championships have been won by a top 30 recruiter?
And that was my whole point with Washington and Kalen DeBoer is how can you do this consistently,
Yeah, you need to be
recruiting
in the
at
top
the
10.
25 to 35 range. It has to be a little bit higher than that. I'm so glad, though, that he's careful about saving the university money. So if they do win like 8 or 9 games this year, he'll turn down a contract extension.
No bonuses for him,
No
right?
bonuses and no contract because he wants to save the university. He's a businessman. He wants to save them money. So he's clear. Like if they offer him $9 million, he's going to turn it down.
Be careful. He's listening to the show. He hears this bull junk you're saying.
Can I start saying Dern, or is that a Deion thing? Can I say Dern?
However you feel about him, we can all agree on this. He is delightful to listen to.
Absolutely
He
delightful.
loves himself. He always has a defense for things. He'll say the outlandish thing that most coaches won't. It's great.
You know what? I care about the company saving money. I'm a businessman,
That's
guys.
right. I'm
So
gonna
the
turn
next
out.
time I got to drive down to Eugene, I'm going to do it on my own.
That's
dime.
right.
There you
Save
go.
the company money. There you go, Schulte.